Hi, in this video I want to share my review on the site rightstuff.com. A little background first. The Right Stuff International Inc., that is, Stuff with one F, is an online shopping site for anime and manga related products. Right Stuff has also licensed and distributed a few series themselves in a production division called Nozomi Entertainment. They also have an adult DVD division called Critical Mass. Among anime and manga lovers, this is a fairly familiar site. I don't have any data about the volume of sales of manga anime products in the discounted prices that can be lowered by being a member of their Got Anime Club and have an ongoing sale at all times. All in all, fans can buy merchandise on this site at a much lower cost. For a manga book, you can expect to pay about 33% less than retail. I mostly buy manga and not anime, but the site treats both media the same. I'm not going to discuss every possible aspect of the site because it's a pretty big site. Instead, I will focus on several main pages: the home page, the search form and its results, and the product page. The site has a lot of other informational pages like news, contests, and they also have forums and a podcast, but I will focus on the shopping specific aspects of the site. The additional pages of course indicate that there is plenty of content for fans on the site, even if they are not interested in buying. The podcast, for example, of this week covers an anime convention, so this is great value for fans. Let's start with the homepage. It seems to have quite a lot going on. You can see the news flicker, you can see a big banner for the current sale, you see some navigation buttons on the top. If you squint, you can see a search box. The button for the forum is hiding there, above a box with featured items. There is a tab between new releases and hot pre-orders, a section for top sellers from last week, a box with some information about the company and its discount program, catalog, etc. And if that isn't enough, there are a couple of advertisements. That's a lot. Let's think about the purpose of the homepage for a user. A user will likely want to find some industry information, search for a title, start an order, check on an order, or get some recommendations for interesting titles. It's all here. All of these actions can be initiated from the home page. The content is there, but I'm not sure it's organized in the best way. I mean, it's nice that the page gives me the date and time, but it seems to be more prominent than the login link. The lines of buttons at the top of the page have some drop-down menus, but the links they include have very different level of importance, and I find it odd that the hot zone for the menus is so small. You can imagine that the entire button can be a hot zone, or alternatively you can avoid the menus and have the button linked to a page that aggregates the information for that topic. A page for customer support, a page for the Anime Today forums and podcast, and a page for the Nozomi division. In fact, those pages are already linked to those buttons, making those drop-down menus seem unneeded to me. Under the big red Right Stuff button, the drop-down menu includes a section for what's hot and a section to get informed. But in fact, all of these links are already on the page in respective and more visible boxes, and both are viewable from the top of the page, so it is very unclear how this menu can spare the user's time and confusion. The last button hides the most important menu, the one that allows direct access to the different categories of products and the so important advanced search option. I say it hides the menu because the text itself, Anime Superstore, doesn't tell us much, and top categories only leaves me confused, and all the links around it scream redundancy. Luckily, I'm not a first-time user, so I know it's there. The area below the top navigation buttons, and I don't know what to call it since it doesn't seem to have a cohesive purpose, is an example of how to mash a bunch of unrelated things into one small area. I understand that the Peekaboo anime pic, that by the way changes on every load, is cute, but never really sure why the search box looks to be out of place. The gray bar under it looks like a layout maniac tried to stuff as many things as possible to that space, and considering that the site is not CNN or anything with fast-paced breaking news, having just a few news static and undistracting would have been nice. There is a slight variation between the logged in state and the guest one. When I'm logged in, it shows my name and allows me to change my account or check on an order. I'm afraid that at this day and age, when every website knows so much about me, it feels like my info should be used with more effect. I would leave the sale promotion box untouched. I think it is a reasonable position on the page and of a good size. It is very likely for a user to buy according to the sale, and having a sample of the popular titles on sale is helpful for those who just glance at the site. I will assume that the featured items and the advertisement boxes are needed for business reasons. So, the last area that we see here is the popularity area, where you see some new releases, hot pre-orders, and the top selling items from last week. It may not be very relevant to mention the previous design of this front page, since I can't really show it to you, but the previous design that wasn't quite as high-tech and had smaller cover icons and less gradients, in that design, Aldi then decided to combine the new releases and hot pre-order into tabs. I would suggest add the top sellers to the tab. The intention is that the user will click from the respective tab to the relevant page and see the full chart. There are so few items under the top sellers that I assume the intention here is the same. Provide a gateway to the page with a lot more top sellers. Why not combine the two? In the space that I cleared, I would put some more exotic recommendations, or if the user is logged in, some personalized recommendations. It doesn't need to have a sophisticated algorithm. Maybe just recommend new volumes in series you already bought, series from the same author, or the same genre you previously bought. And while I'm on the subject of requesting user customization, as a customer, I would very much like to see a wishlist feature. It seems to be a sensible feature for this type of store that relies on having club members and returning clients. I like the general aesthetic of the page, so I've tried using the original elements to create a mock-up that includes the changes I would like. I've clearly separated menus that are related and should look the same. I added category icons that I took from another page on the site and cleared some space around the search box. The option to go on an advanced search is more prominent as well. Now let's go to the advanced search page. The first visible problem is the difference in style. When Right Stuff redesigned the site, they changed some of the key, let's say, front pages, but left the other pages in the old style. This is also true about the product page that we will see. I would like to see the width of the content restricted to the width of the content in the front page, as well as copying the white background with gradient blue side borders styled throughout the site. Limiting the width of the page will also make the forms columns closer. In the current design, the user needs to swipe across the page to mark the checkbox on one side and select the value on the other side of the page. In fact, why not remove the checkboxes altogether? Adding an empty option to the selection drop lists will make it that easy. Another gripe I have with this form is that there is no book option under media, so I can search for all the bags from a company but not all its books. Let's look beyond this search form and look at the actual search result. We'll look for items in stock because I don't want to enter more complicated data in this form. I'm going to scroll up and down to show you there is no way to get back to the search form, unless of course we go back on our browser. There isn't even a plain search by text box. Let's say that I was looking through quite a few of the search result pages before I decided to narrow down the search. I can either go back to the main page and then create a new advanced search, or go back as many pages as I need. Not very convenient. There are many elegant ways to keep the search criteria on the page, in the sidebar for example, that you can select and deselect options as you go. In this case, I would settle for a non-elegant solution. Just copy the form as is to the top of every search page. I will lower my standards for a site that I truly like. Let's look at the product page. Again, you see that the redesign didn't reach all of the site, and it is quite a shame. The content is pretty good. We have the cover image, a description, publisher, release date, availability. If anyone wrote a review about the item, you will see a link, though that will take you away from the page. You see some items that are related. Notice that unlike the front page that add many thumbnails for covers, the information here is completely textual, and that's a shame. I want to mention this little oddity here. I never felt the need to buy more than one copy of the same book. I assume a regular user doesn't have that need either, so why would you waste your page space in the delivery of an unnecessary form every time you load a page? The option to write or read reviews seems to disappear in this design, as they are practically undistinguishable from anything else before or after them. This is probably the reason that so few items have a review about them. Fan communities usually like to write and recommend the things that they like, and it seems like the site doesn't try to encourage that. Like for the front page, I made a mock-up for this product page. I hope that you think like me, that with all these modifications the page is more aesthetic, easier to use, and does a better job separating the elements of the page. Thank you for listening to my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you find yourself in need of buying some manga or anime, I hope you will use the Right Stuff site. It will give you a chance to see and critique the shopping cart.